All right, today we're diving into a really wild idea. One that claims it can stitch together the entire fabric of reality, from the tiniest particles all the way up to the birth of the cosmos itself. And the craziest part, it all starts by questioning something so basic, so fundamental, we pretty much take it for granted.
So get this, what if the biggest, most stubborn problems in all of physics, I'm talking about the ones that keep geniuses up at night, what if they're all caused by a single number? Seriously, what if the reason we can't explain where the universe came from is because we've just been flat out wrong about the number 0? It sounds kind of nuts, right? But let's unpack this, because it turns out this one little number might be causing a whole lot of trouble.
Okay, so to really get why anyone would even think about tossing out the number 0, we first have to see the mess it's causing. See, deep down, right at the very heart of modern physics, there's this huge conflict, a real cosmic crash happening between our two best theories of everything. So in one corner, you've got Einstein's general relativity. It's just beautiful. It governs the really big stuff, stars, galaxies, the whole cosmic dance, and it paints this picture of gravity as a smooth, flowing fabric of space-time. But then, in the other corner, you have quantum mechanics, and this is the weird, fuzzy, totally bonkers rulebook for the tiny world of particles. It's all grainy and jumpy and based on probabilities, and here's the kicker. Both of these theories are unbelievably good at what they do. I mean, ridiculously successful, but they can't stand each other. They just will not work together.
And what happens when you try to force them together? Well, you get a disaster. See, when you look at something that's both ridiculously massive and ridiculously small, think about the Big Bang or the absolute center of a black hole, the math just breaks. It completely self-destructs. You end up with the one thing you're never supposed to do in math class, dividing by 0. And the equations just spit out gibberish. They scream infinity, which is basically the universe's version of a blue screen of death. Physicists have a name for this impossible point. They call it a singularity. It's a place where our physics just stops.
So, yeah, that's a pretty big roadblock, wouldn't you say? Our own equations literally crash and burn when we need them most. I mean, how can everything we see, our entire universe, spring from a moment that our own physics says can't even be described? It's a huge paradox. And it leads you to this really fascinating question, maybe even a heretical one. What if the problem isn't with our physics? What if the problem is with the math itself?
And that question right there leads us straight to this really radical proposal. It's a new framework called Duhon's looping motion, or DLM for short, and its solution to this whole mess is as simple as it is profound. To fix physics, maybe, we just need to get rid of the number 0. And really, this whole enormous theory just blossoms from a single, surprisingly simple question. It's right there. What if 0 doesn't exist because something can't come from nothing? It's so intuitive, right? What if nature just fundamentally says no to true nothingness? What if you can't create something from absolute 0, and you can't crush something down to absolute 0 either?
So this idea gets a formal name, the no-zero principle. And the rule is simple, but oh man, is it profound. It basically says that no physical thing, not a tiny speck of space, not the smallest tick of a clock, not a bit of energy can ever be precisely 0. There's always some tiny minimal amount left over, what they call a fundamental loop. And here's the punchline. If you can never have a 0, you can never divide by 0. And if you can never divide by 0, you can never get those pesky infinities. The math just works, always. Of course, this means we have to think about math a little differently. They call it existence math. So check this out. Normally, if you have 5 minus 5, you get 0, right? Simple. But in this view, that's not quite what happens. You don't get nothing. What you get is an empty space, a void, plus a record that a 5 was there and got canceled out. It's like a cosmic accounting book, a ledger. The information that the 5 existed is never actually erased. It's just recorded.
Okay, so if nature has this fundamental no-zero rule, a really big question pops up. How does it actually enforce it? I mean, how does that work in practice? Well, this brings us to the absolute core of the whole theory, the central engine that makes it all run. The idea that nature basically uses two different calculators. And look, this isn't just some cute analogy. It's the proposed mechanism for how a zero-free universe could actually function. Because you can't just ditch 0 and call it a day, right? You need a system. And this is that system.
Okay, so here's how it works. For pretty much everything in our day-to-day existence, planets orbiting the sun, how stars burn, the very chemistry inside our bodies, nature uses what we can call the normal calculator.
this is all the physics we know and love. Einstein's relativity, quantum mechanics, the whole shebang. This new theory doesn't throw any of that out. But, and this is the crucial part, when you get to those insane, extreme boundary conditions, like the moment of the Big Bang or the heart of a black hole, that's when nature switches gears. It pulls out a special no-zero calculator that has one single unbreakable rule. Zeros are forbidden.
This whole dual system is basically nature's ultimate safety protocol. It's a built-in failsafe. Just when our normal calculator, our standard physics, is about to drive off a cliff into a divide-by-zero error, boom, the special no-zero calculator kicks in. It acts like a cosmic circuit breaker. It says, nope, you can't get any smaller than this, and it enforces a minimum scale for space and time. So instead of crashing headfirst into an impossible singularity, the universe just smoothly loops. That infinite point gets replaced by a tiny, finite oscillating loop. It's like an error prevention system, but it's not software, it's hardwired directly into the fabric of reality itself.
So that's the mechanism. But what's the payoff? I mean, what does this dual calculator idea actually do for us? Well, this is where it gets really exciting. With this cosmic crash prevention system in place, let's take a look at how it just elegantly cleans up some of the biggest, nastiest problems in all of physics.
Let's start with the biggest one of all, the origin of the universe. The Standard Model, our best current theory, says it all began with a singularity, an impossible point at time zero, with infinite density, where our laws of physics just completely fail. But with the no-zero calculator in charge at that boundary, that whole problem just vanishes. Suddenly, there is no time zero. There's no singularity. Instead, our universe smoothly emerges from a prior phase, a mind-bogglingly dense, but totally finite, oscillating loop. And the best part? Physics works. Perfectly. From the very first instant.
So, the Big Bang? Well, it stops being a bang at all. It was never a violent explosion from an impossible point of nothingness. It's much more elegant. It's a big bounce. A smooth, continuous transition from whatever phase came before into the expanding universe we see today. It's an incredible thought. Maybe our universe didn't have a beginning in the way we think. Maybe it just turned a corner.
And this same elegant solution just keeps on solving problems. You know that singularity that's supposed to be at the heart of every black hole? Gone, replaced by another one of those tiny, oscillating, finite loops. And what about the famous information paradox? The deep puzzle of what happens to the information of stuff that falls into a black hole? Well, it's solved. The information isn't destroyed, it's just stored in that loop's ledger. It's remembered. Suddenly, the biggest roadblocks in physics just disappear. The laws of physics hold up everywhere, all the time, no exceptions.
Now, this idea of a ledger or a cosmic record, it's not just a handy metaphor. It actually points to what might be the deepest, most mind-bending implication of this entire zero-free universe. And it's the idea that reality itself has a memory. They call it ledgeral information theory, and it's the bedrock principle that the whole framework is built on. And what it says is just staggering. It says the universe maintains a complete, permanent, indelible record of every single thing that has ever happened, period. Nothing is ever truly deleted. Every single interaction, even something as simple as a cancellation, leaves a permanent mark on that cosmic ledger. I mean, just let that sink in. It completely changes how we see the cosmos. Existence isn't just this series of fleeting moments that happen and then vanish. It's a permanent record, from the big bounce to the heart of a black hole, even down to a simple particle and its antiparticle wiping each other out. The universe doesn't just move forward, it remembers. The story of reality is constantly being written, and not a single word, not a single chapter, is ever erased. And that, of course, leaves us with one final, truly fascinating question to ponder. If the entire fabric of existence is this kind of cosmic memory, this grand ledger that keeps a perfect track of absolutely everything, what's the ultimate story that it's recording? What is it all trying to remember?